The legendary brand known as Alpine is certainly no stranger in the DSP category, but recently they've released a brand new platform called OptiMate, which is a DSP processor and amplifier combined into the same chassis. We've got product expert Eric Brooks in the studio with us to break it all down. This is CMA Connected, brought to you by SiriusXM, all about Alpine, and it starts now. What's going on, everybody? And thank you for tuning in to another CMA Connected, brought to you by SiriusXM. I'm your host, Ben Wu, and today we're going to be focusing in on a brand new product from Alpine in the DSP category. It's called OptiMate, a brand new platform that incorporates both DSP processing power with a powerful multi-channel amplifier. Now, Eric, there's a lot to talk about here. This is kind of groundbreaking news and maybe a departure in a new direction for Alpine. What are we going to be covering on today's show?
Yeah, Ben. So we're really excited to talk about OptiMate. It's a great product. It has the DSP, it has the amplifier all built into one. But really what I want to share is the special thing about this is the auto sound setup, right? This thing automatically tunes your vehicle and you can customize that sound within just a couple of minutes. So it makes tuning a car very, very efficient.
All right, so today it's all about efficiency, and we're going to get right into it. But first, an opportunity for our partner SiriusXM to remind you dealers out there why you love it. And when we get back, I got Eric Brooks, and we're talking Alpine OptiMate.
Hey guys, Ricky Lima here from SiriusXM. I had a chance to speak to some dealers and ask them what they love about selling SiriusXM. Here's what they had to say.
Coast-to-coast coverage.
I love SiriusXM for commercial-free music.
It's a great add-on sale and a profit opportunity.
We love selling SiriusXM because you can listen to the same channel coast to coast.
Profitability and ease of installation. It's a no-brainer.
We love selling SiriusXM for its ease of installation, great profitability, and reliability.
People love it.
All right, welcome back, everybody. Let's get right in. Now, Eric, this was a huge splash back when this was launched earlier this year. Obviously, you've been able to do the rounds, but let's establish the storyline here because like I mentioned, Alpine is no stranger to the DSP game. So why was there a need to create and engineer this brand new platform?
So Ben, as you know, it's harder and harder to change the factory head unit in a dash, right? So we need to find a way to integrate more and more into these factory systems. Integration is a big thing, so we need to make sure we can do that. We need flexible amplification within this chassis, but really the key is easy setup, right? Not all dealers have the time or the capability or the customer base that's willing to pay for a full DSP tuned audio system, which can take up to hours to fully tune a car. So while those guys are out there and they do that, and they are truly artists in how they set up the sound tuning of a vehicle, we came out with this way to simply and easily tune a car for the masses so that they can get a reproducible response and customize that sound as the dealer sees fit to make it sound great for them and their vehicle. So that's really what the benefit of OptiMate is and kind of the direction that it's going with this auto sound tune and OEM integration.
Well, Eric, a very modern approach and forward-thinking gesture from the engineers at Alpine. So let's get into it. Let's talk about the specs and the physicality of this unit. At first, this is an all-in-one solution type chassis, which I'm sure we're going to talk about future building as far as system building applications. But let's take a look. I understand you have one there. So let's show everybody what this looks like and maybe walk us through the physicality of the unit.
Yeah, Ben. So I do have one here. It looks a lot larger in the pictures than it actually is. It's really a pretty small footprint here. So this thing has 8 channels of power built in. It has 50 watts by 6 and 150 by 2 at 4 ohm, 300 by 2 at 2 ohm. So it has a lot of power built in. It has 8 channels of high level input. Those 8 channels of powered input. It has 8 channels of RCA output as well. It has 6 channels of line level input, right? So it has all the inputs and all the outputs that you need. It comes with a Bluetooth dongle, so you can stream Bluetooth information right to it. It comes with a controller, so you can control the volume and the subwoofer level control and the sources and the presets and all that stuff, all that's included in the box, right? So this thing has just a ton of things going for it as far as features and power going in. But again, it breaks down to that easy setup and that easy sound tuning where it really, really does excel. So it is a very, very cool piece that's feature packed.
All right, certainly not a huge amplifier by any means. It's quite incredible that in today's technology, we can jam pack so many features into such a small form factor. But you mentioned something, and we're absolutely going to dig in because I know everybody's tuning in to understand this aspect. You mentioned the word auto tune, and that coincides with a simple setup. So explain to us or walk us through the procedure so we understand what you mean by that.
Yeah, Ben. So this thing really has a couple of aspects of the setup process. That you use a PC app, and you go in and you link to the processor, and you set up your inputs, your outputs, your crossovers, and your levels, right? And then you move on to the auto sound tuning section. I actually have the software up here, so let me show you a little bit about how this works, and we'll just go through those 4 quick aspects of the software. So I don't have a unit connected, but I can still show you here. So this is the software. This is the home page. And basically what you do is you go into your input mode selection, right? And you select with this wizard, there's up to 10 different system configurations already in here, right? So you pick the one that matches your needs, right? So let's say it's a basic OEM head unit with full range 4-channel output. So we click there. It wants to see a high level and a line level. If we're only using OEM source like this, we would just click any preamp input and hit enter, right? So now our inputs are set, right? Then we go to output mode. And basically what we're going to do is we're going to say what kind of system we have, right? And using this setup wizard, there's a wide range of solutions. This is front highs, which are tweeters, front lows, which are mids, front rear or rear fulls here, and then 2 subs. So this is a very common system running active tweeters and mid-range in the front. So let's say we do that. So now we have our 8-channel amplifier configured, right? And then we go over to our EQ page, and we can see all of those. We can see our tweeter channels, our woofer channels, our rear channels, and our sub channels. We can adjust all of our crossovers right down here, and we can set our gains right here. So, in this situation, you'd probably need to pull down the output levels on channel 1 through 6 and leave channel 7 and 8 at 0 or maybe plus a couple of dB here. That gets the volume scale correct, right? So that's how I would set up those levels. So this is a pre-configured setup wizard for inputs and outputs, and then you would custom adjust your crossovers and your level outs. Now, to go in and custom map your amplifier channels, you go here and customize. So you hit customize, you hit next, you tell it, hey, I want to use all 8 channels, right? And you hit enter. Now, when we go to the EQ page, you can see that all of these are blanked out. So we can go in and we can tell it this is front left tweeter. This is front right tweeter, right? This is our front left mid. Or actually, let's say we're going to do mid basses. So this would be our front left woofer, our front right woofer, right? So now these are mid bass. This is 150 watts going to mid bass, 50 watts going to each tweeter. Then we have our rear fill, right? So this might be rear full range. Again, another rear full range. And then we have our subwoofer outputs. So maybe we're running RCA outputs to a mono amp. Right, so we have our subwoofer outputs here. So now we've customized the channel mapping right here. So our internal amplifier and our RCA outputs mirror each other, right? So however you configure the crossovers and all that, it's going to mirror the amplifier and the RCA out, but you can customize those however you want, right? So this is easy channel mapping. Again, you'd go in, you'd adjust your crossovers, you'd adjust your channel levels, and once you've got all that done, you're ready to come over here and auto EQ. So you click this button and it will walk you through the steps of auto EQing. It will actually show you images of how to map out the vehicle using either the microphone kit or your iPhone, right? And if you use the iPhone, there's an app you link to the OptiMate through Bluetooth. It has those same illustrations on the iPhone app. It starts a series of sweeps. I'm going to make a funny sound. Whoop, whoop, whoop. It's going to make those sweeps. You're going to measure the vehicle. It's going to take about 200 samples. And then within 2 minutes, you have a tuned vehicle. You get a target curve. It corrects the acoustic and the phase in the vehicle, right? So you get a tight, detailed bass response. You get an image that's up on top of the dash with a very wide sound stage, right? So those are the benefits of this auto tuning. And then you can change the target curve. You can take it and say, okay, I want more bass. I want more mid-range. I want more tweeter. I want whatever I want from my sound. You adjust it. It changes the sound immediately. You then store it to the processor and you're done, right? So it's that easy. The benefit of our auto tuning is you can actually go in and change the target curve. In the past, all of our auto tuning functions and all the ones that I've seen, you couldn't change that target curve. It was what it was, and that was it. That's really the benefit of this OptiMate. It uses a VIR filter, which is a high resolution, full bandwidth filter that adjusts that acoustic and phase, and we can change the way it sounds on the fly. So really, really efficient way to set up and to tune a vehicle. So yeah, we're really proud of it.
All right, Eric, fantastic demo. Thank you for doing that. Now, I did notice something though. When you went into the custom configuration on the channel, you switched around the mid bass to get a little bit more power. So help us understand how the amplifier power ratings work on this amplifier.
Yeah, Ben. So keep in mind, channel 1 through 6 is 50 watts, right? So you have 50 watts per channel, channel 1 through 6. Then channel 7 and 8 is actually 150 by 2 at 4 ohm, 300 by 2 at 2 ohms. So you can take and custom map those, kind of like I showed in the software. I can make those 150 by channels go to mid bass, or whatever I want, right? Your imagination is the key here, but I can take and map those out and it logically puts them in place, right? And what's cool is you can actually sync channels together to make it more efficient in setting up your crossovers and stuff like that. And the device is smart enough to know whatever I set up this tweeter, I want this tweeter set up. Whatever I set up this mid-range, I want this mid-range set up. So if I have band pass crossovers or high pass or low pass crossovers and I link these channels together, it's going to automatically know, and it's going to put those together in the mapping. So it's really cool with how that works. Now, for a system example, right? What I have a lot of guys doing out in the field is using all the internal power in this thing, and they're running components in the front of the car fully active. So they got a 6.5-inch mid bass and a tweeter in the front. They've got coaxes in the back, so that's full range. So that's channel 1, 2, 3, and 4, and 5 and 6, right? So 6 channels of 50 watts. They got 50 watts to the tweeters, 50 watts to the mid-range, 50 watts to the coax in the back. And then I have guys running subwoofers. I've got guys running Type R subs, dual 2-ohm subwoofers, a voice coil to each channel, 7 and 8, which gives it 300 watts per coil, which is 600 watts to the woofer. And this thing absolutely pounds. It's amazing how much power comes out of this tiny little chassis, right? So we're definitely breaking some laws of physics here with the input gauge wire and the rating on the fuses. But I got to tell you, man, the proof is in the pudding. And when you hear this thing in a system and it actually sounds the way that it does, I don't care about all that stuff. I care that it sounds great and it's going to give the output that we're looking for. And this thing does it every time.
All right. The other thing I did notice in your little demo there was that you configured a way to have an output come out of the OptiMate to be able to expand to other amplifiers, such as a mono amplifier. Is that another option? And how does that work when you want to use the OptiMate at the center of some system building opportunities?
Yeah, so the OptiMate works a lot like many of our other processors do that have built-in amps, right? So the channels, it has 8 channels of DSP processing. And that DSP processing is shared on the high-level outputs, the amplified channels, and the RCA channels of output. So there's 8 channels of RCA and 8 channels of powered output. So however you set your crossovers to channel 1 and 2 and channel 3 and 4 and so on, it's going to be mirrored on the power output and the RCA output. So we just have to keep in mind when we're designing our system what we want those channels to do. Like in the system I just talked about, we talked about taking the 150 watts per channel and putting them to mid basses in the front and running active, right? Well, that's channel 7 and 8 that's used up. So now I can use channel maybe 5 and 6 use the RCA output to run a mono amp, right? Or if I just want more amplification all the way around, I just want bigger amplifiers in the car running all active, I would just use the RCA outputs or any combination of those, right? So it's really cool how it's flexible. And as long as you keep that in mind when you're designing your system, you're going to be good to go.
All right, Eric. So we've taken the time to look at all the different features, the configuration. We even took a look at the GUI. But let's talk, what's real important here. And when I see the brand Alpine, I'm going to want to think that sound quality is at the utmost priority. So talk to us a little bit about how, although Alpine has figured out a way to engineer all these great features into one chassis, that priority of sound quality remains consistent.
Yeah, Ben. So when you look at the sound quality of the OptiMate, Alpine didn't cut any corners here. So this thing is high resolution capable, 9624-bit. It operates out to 40 kilohertz, so it has that wide bandwidth. It has very low distortion, and really the filtering system within this for the auto tuning is really where the key is for that sound quality, and really having detailed and accurate measuring capability of the sound in the car. Right. So the amplifier is going to sound great. It's going to have low distortion. It's going to be very wide bandwidth. It's going to be high resolution capable for the processing side. But this VIR filter is a full bandwidth, high resolution filter. So it's very accurate in its scaling of the response in the vehicle. Right. So the acoustic and the phase response in the vehicle, it can get a very clean picture of what it's doing in the car. And it can correct those better than other filter systems out on the market currently. So really, that's what it's all about. It's about the technology within it, the performance of the product within it, and really making sure there's no cutting corners in the design process and the engineering process, and really the components used within the product to make it sound its best.
Now, no doubt there's a lot of energy, momentum, and excitement about this OptiMate platform, but I did want to take a minute for those tuning in and saw Alpine DSP for them to understand that Alpine is surely a brand that takes DSP very seriously because there's a suite of products that involve DSP processors. Just take a quick minute, Eric, to walk us through that, to remind dealers just the offering that Alpine currently has within the DSP category.
Sure, Ben. Yeah, so we do have a number of processors in the line, and really OptiMate is the one that we're talking about right now because of its significant technological benefit of the auto tuning. Right, this thing allows a wider base of customer and dealer to use the advantage of sound tuning in a car. Not all dealers have the tools or the time or the customer base willing to pay for that RTA setup and the full sound tuning setup by the professionals that we have as dealers, right? So that's a limit for a lot of customers. They can't benefit from sound tuning, and that's where OptiMate comes in. But if you're a dealer that has the tools and the staff that are capable of creating these masterpieces of sound reproduction in a car using full-blown DSP, you can do that. We have that in the OptiMate. We have 31 bands of parametric EQ in there. So you can do that there while it's not needed with that auto sound tuning. But we have other products. We have the PXE 0850X. We have the PXE X09 high resolution 16 channel inputs and outputs for that really large system that needs that high resolution DSP. We also have the Status DSP, which is a built-in amplifier DSP in itself with ultra low noise floor, very wide bandwidth, very high signal to noise ratios. So we have a category of DSP to fit every budget and every system design, right? Not every customer is going to take advantage of auto sound tuning. Not all dealers are limited in what they can do with RTA and sound tuning. So maybe they want to use a full DSP setup process for their consumer. We have other systems available for that. So yeah, this is really meant to hit the masses and give the availability to every customer to have that improved sound through DSP in their car. But if a dealer wants to take advantage of full DSP tuning using their RTA and microphone setup, absolutely. We have other products that do a fantastic job for that too.
Now, Eric, I'm going to take a shot in the dark here because I got a funny feeling that with the success of OptiMate, the momentum that's building with this, the need to address that consumer and installer that, like you said, might not need those advanced DSP characteristics and a full-blown, RTA style DSP, that there may be more coming down the pipe on this new platform called OptiMate. Would you be able to shed some light on that as to the direction of Alpine as far as OptiMate is concerned?
Well, Ben, you tend to get the goods out of me early, so I'll be very careful here. But yeah, think of Optim as the family, right? Optim is the technology. 8 happens to be the amount of channels in OptiMate, right? So you may see really soon a piece that has no amplifier built in that's designed to work with current systems in the marketplace using 4-channel and mono amplifiers. Look out for something that maybe called the Optim 6 coming, which has 6 channels of high-level input, 6 channels of RCA input, and 6 channels of RCA output. So no power built in, but the capability to use the same auto-tuning setup for systems that you've already done in the field or you're selling to customers now. Take advantage of this capability to auto-tune a vehicle in just a couple of minutes with more of a standard system that we're used to selling.
And there you have it, folks. That was Alpine's Eric Brooks spilling some beans about what's coming down the pipe from Alpine. Now, if you're interested to find out more on any of the product we covered on today's show, I do encourage you to check out the official Alpine website. I'll put it on the screen right now, Alpine USA. And if you happen to be in Canada, well, then you need to reach out to the folks at Gentech. Gentech International is, in fact, the Canadian distributor for all things Alpine. So on that note, I had to reach out to our friend Gord Brown over at Gentech. Now, Gord, this is a game changer, and I'd like to hear in your words how you feel this will affect our Canadian dealerships.
Thanks, Ben. That's a great opportunity for us to review and refresh how we go about getting our install bays and use those laborers. Ultimately, at the end of the day, Alpine has made it so easy now to use DSP and to be able to start their tuning systems. We really need to embrace these opportunities because as retailers, the install bays aren't nearly as busy as they were 5, 10, even 20 years ago when we could slam deck in twos and make things happen. So what Alpine's provided us with the OptiMate processor is an ability for us that we're maybe hesitating to get into DSP, a super easy way for the retailers to start and learn and understand what DSP does for them. And because so much of it is done in the background automatically by Alpine, you don't have to worry about tweaking it. Of course, you can tweak it to all your heart's desire once you've got it done, but the opportunity here is to really start to learn and embrace what DSP does for you so you can start to use it today.
My follow-up question to you, Gord, is has the time finally come for Canadian dealers to recognize that this OptiMate technology is an absolute opportunity for them to finally dig in, get involved with DSP, and not say no to customers they may have before? Because honestly, I don't know if they can make it any more simple than this.
This is the challenge that we really need to understand. As installers, as specialists, we are looking to elevate our skills, and DSP is probably the easiest way to do that today. Alpine, again, with the OptiMate processor, has made it easy to get started on using DSP. But the background capabilities of what the OptiMate can do with the manual tuning, the equalization, the crossovers, all those adjustable points are still manually adjustable as well. So you could get in there and really tweak a system. What we need to do is kind of embrace this opportunity as a way to add to our install base profitability. We can book that time. They've been doing this in the US and embracing it for a long time. We need to do that here as partners to understand when your install base can't be busy, we need to use that time and use it as billable profit. And that's exactly what DSP can do. DSP isn't going away. It's going to get stronger every single day. The interfaces into factory systems are going to be the way that we can still add on aftermarket amps, speakers, subwoofers, and all those electronic systems. So let's embrace it. Use processors like the OptiMate and other future devices that are coming from Alpine and other brands as well, and use this as a way to leverage and show our specialist capabilities and show that strength and move forward.
I want to take this opportunity to thank my two guests today, Eric Brooks from Alpine, as well as Gord Brown representing Gentech International. And in my closing comments, well, is the OptiMate a game changer? Oh, I do believe that it is. Now, I'm going to preface this with something. All you hardcore DSP guys, don't flame me. I'm not saying that this is the brand new end-all DSP. No. However, has Alpine achieved a mission in providing technology and a platform for dealers to A, simplify the process, B, maybe get more junior technicians involved in tuning, and C, address customers how to improve their sound in their complicated OEM systems without breaking the budget as far as tuning and higher end processors? Absolutely. If you are in the market to improve your DSP game for your customers and get into it, maybe you've been hesitant because things have been complicated. Let me tell you right now, from based on what Eric has shown on today's show, there simply is no simpler system right now on the market that can get you in, tuned, and playing great music in your car like the OptiMate can. That's it for this CMA Connected, brought to you by SiriusXM. I'm your host, Ben Wu. Until next time, we connect.
There's never been a better time to have SiriusXM with over 150 channels in your vehicle. Your Platinum Plan offer includes more than ever before to enjoy online, on your phone, or at home. Create your own ad-free personalized stations powered by Pandora. Hear ad-free extra channels and enjoy favorite shows with SiriusXM Video on Demand. What you love is on now.